How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about Lucid, which was down just over 13% on the day. We saw a lot of weakness inside of the markets. Of course, it was impacted. And they also came out with a press release, which I'm going to be sharing with you guys. I won't be wasting any more time. Let's jump into the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you're a shareholder, you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to go over is the technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the overall price action. We want to know support. We want to know resistance. We want to know what it looks like in the bearish case scenario and as well as in the bullish case scenario. And then we're going to be going on Fintel, taking a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information. The reason why this is important because it does have an impact on the way the stock performs. And then we're going to be taking a look at the order flow distribution. We want to know the buying and the selling behavior on the retail side and as well as on the institutional side. And then when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts and as well as some more details. So let's get to it. So we're going to do a technical analysis for Lucid. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at $13.86, being down 13.10%. On the low, it tested $13.67, and then on the high, testing $15.96. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 43.343 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 25.985 million shares. So we had above average volume on the day, but you can see we dealt with some selling pressure. Now, when we take a look at our chart, which is a daily chart, you can see from the RSI down below, it is at 26.89. So it's right there in that oversold territory. And then when we take a look at our moving averages here on the chart, we are below the 200-day, the 100-day, the 50-day, and as well as the 21-day EMA. And it's clear to see that Lucid is in a bear market, trading below all of our major moving averages and making another 52-week low at $13.67. So as long as we continue to have weakness in these markets, we could see Lucid potentially go down even further. But one thing we need to understand, where we saw at the high of the day was at $15.96. So if we end up having a bounce in the market, maybe might happen for tomorrow, I want to see if we can get back to $16. So getting above the high of the day. Is this going to happen? What is the likelihood? I'm personally not seeing it, but again, this is what bulls are going to want to look forward to if they're trying to see strength all the way going into Friday, or I should say by the end of Friday. And if you want to see some more strength to see that, you know what, things might be reversing for Lucid, we have to take a look at the 21-day EMA at $18.96. So again, this is a very big move to expect, and if it was going to pull this off, then you'd want to see it do it maybe sometime next week. But again, I'm just not seeing that until we get some more clear direction from the market, because it is showing us that, hey, the trend is going down. So it will be interesting to see how the stock performs for tomorrow, but by the look of the chart, it is definitely continuing to look bearish. Now let's move on to the short interest information. Institutional ownership and short interest information for Lucid. So green rows indicate new positions, while red rows indicate closed positions. When we take a look at the recent filings we have for the 11th, we have Orion Capital Management LLC that purchased 45 shares, and then we have BI Asset Management that purchased 6,915 shares, and we have Clear Street Markets LLC that purchased 26,580 shares, and then we have 78 Capital LP that purchased 13,899 shares, and then we have a closed position from Q3 Asset Management as well. Now, when we take a look at the short interest, the off-exchange short volume ratio is at 52.39%, and then for the off-exchange short volume, it is just over 5.76 million shares. Scrolling down on the page, short shares availability is at 100,000, updated 1 minute ago. And then for the short follow-through rate, it is at 9.88%. When we take a look at the history of the short volume, we can see for the close of the 9th, it was at 65.73. And then for the close of the 10th, being at 52.39. So that is a significant decrease right there. But when we take a look at the short interest percentage of the float being at 21.26%, Lucid does have short squeeze potential. Now let's move on to the order flow distribution. Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution for Lucid. So we see on the inflow, it was at 88.75 million. And then on the outflow, it was at 101 million. So we had an outflow day. Taking a look at the breakdown, on the large, it was 0.93 million. On the medium, it was 50.37 million. And then on the small, it was 37.45 million. Taking a look at the outflow side, you can see on the large, it was 2.10 million. On the medium, it was 59.59 million. And then on the small, it was 39.09 million. Taking a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, you could see for May the 11th, we had an outflow of negative 1.17 million. Analyzing the numbers even further for the small scale orders that tends to represent the retail side, we had more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at what happened on the medium, we had more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at the large, which represents whales, institutions, and funds, we had more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at the turnover ratio, it was at 2.63%. So we could tell that Lucid had a volatile day. We're used to it being in the 1% range. So we continue to have that selling pressure. No surprises. There's a lot of fear. There's a lot of uncertainty. So let's go into the final thoughts and we'll go over some more details as well. So for my final thoughts for Lucid, before we start talking about the price action, let's go over the recent press release that came out today. So we have it here. Lucid CEO says he's concerned about chip supplies from China due to COVID-19. The chief executive officer of Lucid Group on Wednesday said he was concerned about chip supplies from China due to the COVID-19 lockdowns, adding that the U.S. electric vehicle startup is taking measures to mitigate the impact. My biggest concern probably is semiconductors from China and the impact of COVID in that part of the world, Lucid CEO Peter Rawlinson said at a conference held by the Financial Times. He said Lucid has distributed the location of chip supplies as a part of a mitigation measures. So again, this is not the news that you want to hear while we go through a bear market. But at the same time, I definitely do respect and understand why he would come out and mention that. That is a concern going on inside of the EV sector and just as a whole in regards to chip shortages. So that is why if you are going to be inside of this play, you need to have high conviction if you are an investor. And now that makes you want to go into the price action. So we ended up making another 52-week low at $13.67. So we continue to see selling pressure inside of these markets. There is a strong possibility you could see Lucid trading in the $12 range. Keep in mind, this was a SPAC and it was trading at $10. So just knowing that, again, the price is becoming a lot more attractive, but as far as the way how it's been bleeding, we could see clearly on the RSI, it is deep in the oversold territory, being at around 27. So again, if you are going to be a trader and if you're looking to swing this play, you want to play off solid price action. You want to play off support and as well as resistance levels. So far, we have not seen a proven area of support. It is continuing to do 52-week lows. So if you are going to be going on the long side, I would be exercising some patience. And for my investors, again, just continue to dollar cost average in, but only do this if you have high conviction. Don't just do it because you're hearing it everywhere on social media. I want to make sure you're confident in the play, because if it does decide to pull back further, whether it might go to 12 or even down to the $10 range at SPAC prices, then you should be having a good understanding of what the risks are and it shouldn't bother you whatsoever. But as far as for the chart is concerned, in the technical sense, it is continuing to look bearish. We still have some more room to go to the downside. If you're looking for a move to the upside or some sign of a reversal, Lucid needs to get back to the 21-day EMA, which is around $18.96. And in these current conditions, I feel that is a lot to ask. So again, I do not see this happening for this week. But if we're able to get some price action where Lucid can probably make a move going to around $17, I don't think that would be bad. But do know, I don't see this happening. But if it can close the week above $16, I think that would be a really good look. Also, when we went on Fintel, taking a look at the recent institutional ownership, we could see that institutions have been loading up on shares. Plus, on top of that, Lucid does continue to have short squeeze potential. We also have to keep in mind of the fact of the CPI numbers that came out. I was talking about this in previous videos videos on all of my videos actually for the past week. And why is it important? So we ended up having CPI numbers at around 8.3%. As far as for the estimates, it was around 8%. But for the previous month, it was around 8.5%. So we are seeing a decrease. So what I'm seeing, it looks like it has peaked, but there's still some fear and uncertainty due to the fact it still came in above estimates. So I want you to be aware there's going to be a lot more volatility ahead. So you need to make sure that you're mentally prepared for it. And what is your strategy going to be? This is very important because we know we talk about growth stocks a lot on this channel, and growth stocks are the ones that are going to be punished when we're in high inflationary environments. So be aware of that, acknowledge that, and if you are trading, make sure that you protect your profits. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I can't wait to see how the stock performs going into tomorrow. We'll talk soon.